Does MAGA think ICE has gone too far? I have high hopes. I'm hoping that there's some common sense in this video, but at the same time, I don't know. So let's just.
You should never, ever, ever reasonably expect to lose your life for being around and observing the conduct of ICE agents.
If you do something that presents the case where an officer's life could be reasonably demonstrated to be threatened, the officer has a right to defend his own life.
That's not reasonable.
It is.
Stop breaking the law.
Zena, if you are driving.
I already know. I already know. I already know. I already know that this shit is about to be bull. Like, just like it's.
If you break the law, you should die.
Hold on.
I'm not hearing nobody else.
I'm Mason, I'm a progressive.
I'm Zena and I'm a leftist.
I'm Bo. I'm a conservative, America First.
I'm Austin. I am a Christian populist, and you are watching Roundtable. Let's get into it.
Okay, we got a leftist.
Thousands gathering in Minneapolis for a vigil in memory of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a local resident and mother shot and killed by an ICE agent.
No justice! No peace!
Polarized narratives are now forming about what led to her death. Her Honda SUV was parked in the street. She appears to motion to other vehicles to pass. But a truck stops and federal agents walk toward her, asking her to step out of the vehicle. She reverses, then puts the SUV in drive, and shots are fired.
The killing of Renee Good is unjustifiable and a direct result of Trump's tyrannical immigration agenda.
Y'all better not say anything stupid. I swear to God. I swear to God. I'm in the process of losing my voice, but I will still cuss you out. I'll still cuss them out. But the thing says the killing of Renee Good is unjustifiable and a direct result of Trump's tyrannical immigration agenda. I agree. It was unjustifiable. Like, there should have been no reason for, like, there should have been no reason.
It's a little bit shocking to me. I mean, I thought this was one where we would all kind of collectively agree based on kind of like what we all saw. But I mean, I would love to open the conversation to you guys as to what you'd make of the situation.
Okay. I think the question right off the back is a little bit weird. The fact that it's unjustifiable and tyrannical immigration, let's just take that out completely right now. I think, personally, one, she should have never been killed. Two, I do think she wasn't trying to kill the ICE. I don't think she was trying to kill the ICE agent.
Okay, we got a W so far. We got a W so far. I was not expecting that. So he's about to say but. So he agrees that her killing was unjustifiable, but he's going to disagree that it's a direct result of Trump. I already know.
What I will say is neither of those people should have been there. That ICE agent several months ago was dragged 300 feet by a car. Maybe he should have been removed from the force desk duty. She should have never been there. You have a child at home.
She should have never been there? Didn't they say that she was dropping her kids off at home or whatever? Hold on, I'm gonna let them talk while
Impeding
she's out.
federal investigations, things like this happen. In fact, one thing that I'm really upset about is that people keep saying, go out and impede federal investigations. And obviously, they're using language that doesn't specifically say that. But the more you guys tell people to go out there and protest, immigration enforcement is going to lead to more people getting killed.
Right. So, I mean, we just look at like ICE in general and like the trends we've seen. And
Siri, look. This is from CNN. This is not an overview. This is not an AI overview. This is CNN. So she was there for a reason. She was dropping off her kid. According to the report, according to her ex-husband, she had just dropped off her 6-year-old kid at school when she encountered the ICE agent. So saying she wasn't supposed to be there, she was dropping off her child? Oh, I don't know. That she's not supposed to be there thing is a little shaky to me.
who they're killing. this is not like a one-off instance. We've seen that U.S. citizens are constantly put at risk at the hands of ICE and their so-called legal enforcement. I think that's the biggest, one of the biggest problems about the situation is that we're talking about this immigration threat that I think Trump, in a way, will position as something that every citizen needs to fear, right? When what we're seeing instead is that law enforcement is, putting citizens at risk, right? I think that's the biggest problem that we need to look at.
The black lady
I
so
believe
pretty, she
US
is.
Citizens are actually putting themselves at risk by impeding federal
Do
investigations.
you think that this reaction?
That's
So, protesting is impeding? It depends, right? It depends. Like, let's take, for example, sadly, what happened to Alex yesterday. Right? Protesting, using his amendment of free speech. He was armed, but his gun was like in its holster, right? And he had a legal gun permit. He was protecting a woman who was shoved by an ICE agent. Did that ICE agent have to shove her? No. She was also using her rights, right? And Alex got shot. It's not like they were stopping them from, for example, kidnapping some random person. Like, no, like, everybody who was there at the time of Alex's death yesterday were literally just using their constitutional rights. And if using your constitutional rights gets you killed, and you agree that if you use your constitutional rights, you'd see that as impeding and therefore you should be killed, then I think you need to go to a therapist.
Let me just finish.
Okay.
That is a perfectly rational explanation of what is happening. Stop putting yourself in front of ICE officers. That is ridiculous. You can protest. Do not obstruct federal law enforcement.
I'd like you
That
to
will
explain
lead.
how she was putting herself in front of ICE agents when she was there tailing them as a legal observer in order to make sure that proper conduct was being
Why is she a
followed.
legal
First of all,
observer?
let me interject very quickly.
Go ahead.
As someone.
What kind of stupid ass? I'm eating lightsabers, so excuse me. But what kind of stupid ass question is that? Why was she a legal observer? You're losing me, bro. Why was she a legal observer? Because she can be. Her being a legal observer. There's no law that says you cannot legally. That says you cannot follow an ICE agent around. There's no law. There's there's nothing in the Constitution. There's no U.S. law that says that you cannot follow an ICE agent, follow a police officer around. There's no law. So it's not like she was breaking the law. She really wasn't.
That has seen enough, and is I've seen enough to know what happened.
But you know who is breaking the law? ICE. Why? Because several states have told them that they need to remove their face coverings. But you know why they're not going to remove their face coverings? Because they know what they're doing is bad.
It is illegal to follow a emergency. It is illegal to follow a law enforcement professional in the performance of their duties. It is illegal to impede a law enforcement professional in the performance of their duties, number one. Number two, the body cam footage or the iPhone camera footage taken by the officer that was actually struck, who, by the way, just at 12:36 at the time of this recording, did suffer internal bleeding. So he was actually physically struck by the car. So
No,
I
he
don't know why
didn't.
it's funny, Mason.
No, he didn't.
No, but it was CBS.
So he was struck by the car.
CBS
with
stated
Barry
internal.
Weiss.
CBS stated internal bleeding. So
Got it.
that's what they objectively reported. So she put herself. This is very simple. This is FAFO.
He wasn't hit by the car. I don't remember seeing him get hit by the car. I'm just going to retract my statement for now. Hold on.
How did you found out? Should that have happened to her? No. Was the situation completely avoidable? Absolutely.
Yes.
But the fact is,
Yeah, people are saying he was never
play
hit.
stupid games, you will win a stupid prize.
Okay.
So just so everyone is watching is aware, this is how the conservative right thinks that you observing federal agents and making sure that proper
Driving a
conduct
car-
is
You're
being
being
followed
so disingenuous.
means proper conduct.
his face is disingenuous. I'm sorry. Hours after that whole thing happened, that ICE agent grinder profile was exposed. Not only that, he has an immigrant wife. This is just me. This is how I personally feel. I personally feel like people who are married to immigrants, I shouldn't say immigrants because I'm pretty sure his wife was like a citizen, but people who are married to individuals who could quickly be profiled as immigrants, and you're working with ICE, or you're like Hispanic working with ICE, I feel like you should be ashamed of yourself. A off-duty Hispanic ICE agent was detained by a on-duty ICE agent, and he had to prove that he was an ICE agent. He like the off-duty ICE agent had to prove that he was like an ICE agent. Like they don't see, like, I don't know why Latinos for Trump think that they're one of the good ones. You're not. Just because you voted for him, you're gonna be seen the exact same way as everybody else. Like, they're not going to differ you, who could be possibly, you know, a US citizen from someone who is not a US citizen.
Is being filed. They're saying, fuck around, find out, you deserve to die.
I mean,
just saying.
No, we're saying don't do federal investigations. That's completely different.
Hold on.
And you're twisting
Can I
words.
ask
Hold on, let's not get emotional here. We're having a
I'm just not getting
conversation.
emotional. Don't twist my words.
Hold on.
Can I ask a simple question?
Let me just say this very quick, and then I'll get to your question. You are not observing when you are literally driving your vehicle. Again, you act as if
She
we don't
waved cars to go past
Mason,
her. So
I
let's
didn't
stop
say-
with the
no,
bullshit
stop.
narrative.
No,
Wait, what?
Mason, we have camera footage taken by the officer
That we
was
just
physically
watched.
struck. No, that was not the same angle.
Shouldn't it ever
Plus
be the
that-
case that a U.S. citizen should be afraid to be around ICE officers in the way that she was? Let's make it clear that she was in her car, and the only point at which she ever made, you know, a move was when she was in fear, right? So she was actively swerving her car to leave, right? You could see that the wheels were pointed to the right. There is no instance in which a U.S. citizen should fear fucking around and finding out to the point where like their life is at danger. I think that's a
I'm so sorry.
ridiculous
Like, I
way
can't
to
believe
frame this.
we're continuing this conversation, and the fact that she's
can.
obstructing justice. She was tailing them
Should
for
that result in
hours.
her death?
She was tailing them for hours, and then she was blocking ICE vehicles from doing their job. That is obstruction of justice. She should have been in jail. You're right, not shot.
We believe in no cruel and unusual punishment in this country. It's the 8th Amendment of the Constitution.
We also have law and order.
That means that the
This was law and
response.
order.
That means that the response to certain
Breaking the
actions.
law.
Can I?
Should that result in her
Sorry, she's
death?
So we have the 8th Amendment, which is no cruel and unusual punishment. The response should be proportional to the actions that are committed by people. If you don't have your paperwork, what is that? Is that a criminal violation or is that a civil violation?
Mason, if the officer
Wait,
felt
can
like
you
his
just
life was
answer that
threatened-
question?
Yeah, I'll answer it once I state this.
Go ahead.
When the officer's life was in danger,
Wait. What? I see your post all the time. You legit make a stream. Wait. I see your post all the time and you legit make a stream out of it good. I'm so glad I found you. Aww. Of course. I love talking about the political and economical state of the world.
based on his, and this is policy across multiple law enforcement agencies across the country, there is a doctrine where lethal force can be applied. If the officer feels that his life is in danger and he can prove it demonstrably, so which again, this officer has literal camera footage of his own body cam, either taken on his iPhone or his body cam, where he is standing in front of
As
the.
Zena just said,
Mason.
the wheels were pointed against
Mason,
him.
that's
He is
one
the
angle. Mason,
he is the
there
one
were
who
two
placed
officers.
himself in front of the car.
No, she
You're
backed up
deliberately-
and then was
hold
in
on.
front of the
Let's
car.
actually just
Wait, guys, don't.
But no one was behind the car.
New video tonight of the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis that claimed the life of a mother of three, this time from the ICE agent's cell phone camera.
The video shows the moments leading up to the shooting, including what Renee Good said to the ICE agents and what one of them said about her after the shooting. In the 47-second clip, Renee Good appears calm as she speaks to the officer when another ICE officer orders her out of the car. She then turns her steering wheel to the right and begins to drive. And 3 shots ring out.
John Fenolio is live in the KTLA News Center with a closer look at the video and reaction to it. John?
Sheriff Micah, tonight.
I want to see the video. I want to see the video.
The Trump with their car. But other observers say she was trying to swerve around him when she was shot and killed.
They are Renee Nicole Good's final words.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
Captured on this cell phone video, recorded by ICE agent Jonathan Ross, who fatally shot her Wednesday morning in Minneapolis. The footage begins with Agent Ross approaching Good, who is sitting in her SUV. You can hear Good say to him, "She's not mad."
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. It's okay. We don't change our plates every morning.
You're not even supposed to be on your phone. Like, bro, like.
Good's wife, standing outside the car, is also filming.
It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later.
Ross walks around the front of the SUV, while another agent can be heard telling Good to get out of the car.
Out of the car. Get out of the car.
Good's wife tries to open the door as Good reverses and begins to drive away. The camera goes down as Ross, who is still standing, yells out, then fires 3 shots. Seconds
Okay,
later, a voice is heard cursing Good, who crashed. Seconds later, a voice is heard cursing Good.
Okay, who probably got hit in the hip. I'm just judging by.
Seconds later, a voice is heard cursing Good.
It looked like he got. They took you off. They took off the YouTube stream. Yeah, they do this all the time. They do this all the time. He probably got hit on the hip. I will give him that. It did look like he got bumped. But like, instead of trying to get away from the car.
Seconds later.
Instead of like, I don't know, like, you know, like trying to like get away from the car. You can see him lean into the car. Like,
Heard cursing Good, who crashed.
I'm not dismissing the fact that he probably got like hit. It looks like his like hip probably got bumped, but like that was still no reason to like shoot her.
Pushes her car down the road.
Good.
Vice President J.D. Vance posting on X. Watch this, as hard as it is. Many of you have been told this law enforcement officer wasn't hit by a car, wasn't being harassed, and murdered an innocent woman. The reality is that his life was endangered, and he fired in self-defense.
It's clear that I'm not diagnosing him, but like anybody who's been hit by a car, almost been hit by a car, or like have suffered near death, or has experienced moments where you've almost been hit by. I've almost been hit by a car multiple times. I live in California. We have one of the we're like the state that has like the worst drivers. Right? They don't know how to drive. That shit can like turn into like some small form of PTSD. It could. So like, and if, right, what they're saying is he was dragged from underneath a car. He was dragged by a car like a certain amount of months ago. He should not be out there. Like, we don't know if they did a mental evaluation on him. We don't know if he was checked out by a doctor. Like, we don't know like what like, cause like if you, I have family in the police like department. If you are injured, you have to like go through a certain. You have to go through like these steps to like make sure you're good mentally, you're good physically, and that stuff like this isn't going to like impact your work. It's clear that like him thinking he was gonna get hit by the car is like why he like fired, but like there should have been no reason for him to like shoot her. There should have like there was no reason at all. Like that shit's just stupid.
Don't say that.
Wait, let me say this.
That's true.
No,
She don't say the truth. That's what's happening here.
And from the video, she did. She backed up. Right? She backed up. No one was behind her when she backed up, and her wheel was turning away from him. Like we've seen in the video, she backed up. No one was behind her, at least close enough to get hit by the car. She turned her wheel away from him and tried to drive away, and then he shot her. Like,
Let's remind ourselves the position that you took in the beginning of this conversation, which was that it was unjustifiable what occurred, right? Now we're trying to make this like moving the goalpost argument that there is some case in which lethal force should be applied when your life is
No, I didn't say it was unjustifiable. I said it was justifiable.
Okay,
No, we're talking about Bill. Who was honest about
okay.
this.
exactly. He stepped forward knowing that she was moving away. He put his body in front of the car, like somewhere in front of the car, which is why his hip got hit. Like, I heard the thud. I saw his hip get hit. Everybody else was moving away except for him.
Find this to be unjustifiable, and you think that this is
I didn't. I find it to be. So you guys are twisting my words.
No, I'm talking to him.
Yeah, but you're changing my statement. It is justifiable because it's self-defense.
So it is justifiable.
I said that from the very beginning. What I also said is she shouldn't have lost her life, and he shouldn't have been there.
Exactly.
Let's rewind.
I think, personally, one, she should have never been killed. Two, I do think she wasn't trying to kill the ICE. I don't think she was trying to kill the ICE agent.
MAGA lies again. Ooh. Hobu said it's justifiable, but they said it wasn't justifiable. Like, oh my god, he can't even keep up with his own words. Means this guy switched up faster than, like, the weather in fucking California.
I also said is she shouldn't have lost her life, and he shouldn't have been there.
Exactly.
It's justifiable given the actions that happened. There's a nuance to everything.
She shouldn't
Don't
have
remove
lost
the
her
nuance.
life, but it is justifiable.
We have an 8th Amendment in the Constitution. I'll say it again. There's no cruel and unusual punishment. That means the response that's made by federal agents is supposed to be proportional to the actions. Viewing an ICE agent does not warrant the death penalty.
Driving her vehicle into him.
Also,
No, she didn't drive her policeman.
the way that ICE is conducting themselves across the country is in response to civil violations. Nobody believes that somebody who has a violent criminal record should be treated with dandelions.
Hey,
but what we're saying is when ICE agents are going door to door, grabbing people and removing them and dragging them from their homes, when these people have roots who have often been here for 10 to 20 years, this is not the proportional response. And the Trump administration is deliberately doing this as political theater because they're nowhere near the deportations that
Oh
they
my
claim
god,
to
my
have
TikTok
wanted.
says that
But
too.
the reason why they are posting these highlight reels, the reason why they're making these montages they release on social media is to deliberately agitate an already oppositional party.
No,
which are people
the reason
who
is
believe in law and order in this country.
Let me say this very quickly. I'm black. One thing I'm not going to do in this country is if a
Me too! W. I thought he was about to say he was white for a second. You're black. We see that. You're black. I'm black. Pink is the new black. Like, but you're tap dancing for master, bro. You're tap dancing for master.
police officer standing in front of my driver's side of my car, one thing I'm not going to do is drive the car any degree towards him. So,
do you know what you're doing? You're justifying a panopticon of fear.
No, that's ridiculous. It's really simple. Don't resist arrest. Don't resist arrest, guys. We've been saying that since George Floyd.
Just let me
learn.
No. Let me.
Why should she be arrested?
Oh, nasty ass fucking behavior, bro. You've been saying that since George. Yeah, you know why we've been saying that since George Floyd? Because cops continue to kill us. Kids continue to die. What's the effort, bro?
Arrested, she's a citizen.
Okay,
There's no reason for her to be arrested.
The ICE officer's a U.S. citizen too, Zena. So
and
at what point?
His goal as an officer should be to protect U.S. citizens.
So these guys love like rooting for people that are breaking laws.
No,
and this is
I don't
ridiculous.
even think. I don't think that's.
You voted for someone who was breaking the law. Trump is a 34 count felon. He was held civilly liable for sexually abusing Agent Carroll. He's in the Epstein files. He's not obeying the orders from judges who are telling him to stop with the bullshit. Like, you literally voted for someone who's breaking the law now. You're voting for someone who was breaking the law and is still actively breaking the law.
I don't think
You
think it's okay that she
so what's
obstructs federal
happening
officers?
is we need to the whole entire goal of a police officer should be to protect and preserve human life. You should never ever reasonably expect to lose your life for being around and observing the conduct of ICE agents. That's something that you're saying is the result of fucking around and finding out what's happening is justifying that behavior.
No, it's not.
And you know who fucked around and found out? That officer who got his fingertip bit off.
I'm going to say that in 10 seconds. Zena, if you do something that presents the case where an officer's life could be reasonably demonstrated to be threatened, the officer has a right to defend his own life.
Except it's not reasonable.
It is.
Stop
Zena,
breaking the law.
Zena, if you are driving, if
you break the law, you should die.
Hold on.
Nobody's saying that. Well,
no.
You said it's a justifiable
Stop
killing.
breaking the law.
You said it's a justifiable killing.
Zena, within the specific confines
You
of what we
disagree
saw,
with this claim. This is
Zena,
actually
Zena,
ridiculous.
you're not listening. I agree with the claim. I need you to hear what I'm saying. If the officer is standing in front of her driver.
If you agree with the claim, then why is your thing red? These lifesavers are good.
Side window, and she pushes the vehicle and accelerates it towards him to any degree. He
Except
then has.
it wasn't towards him.
It was. She backed up and aimed it right at him.
Why did he suffer internal bleeding?
Right. So what
Why
happened
did he suffer
was
internal bleeding? Answer that question directly.
Because she
that
hit
does
the
not
car.
mean even if he was raised by the car.
Hit him with the
that
car.
should
Just
not
saying.
Answer that
mean
question directly.
if his. No, I'm going to answer your question, but let's actually like address the first part. Where
No,
were her
address
wheels
the
turned
question.
to the side to actually reverse and get out of there?
There are two questions I just
right?
asked you that
so
you
even
didn't
if he was in the line of fire, that's okay. Doesn't mean that he was actively she was trying to hit him.
You do understand that police officers literally get paid barely $60,000 across this country to put their life on the line every single.
So, I agree. Police officers should get paid more for putting their life on the line for, U.S. citizens. But just because you get paid a shitty amount, I get paid a shitty amount for doing my job. Just because you get paid a shitty amount does not condone the killing of anyone. That was such a shitty, response.
$200,000 with a $50,000 signing
I don't think how much they make matters.
Right, it doesn't
then
matter.
I was just addressing the person who brought it up.
I understand you.
Police officers, it doesn't matter what they make, actually. You're right. The point is they put their lives on the line every single day. That is what they sign up for.
So
let me
I think we
finish.
should zoom out. I've been
I'm
quiet.
not going to zoom out. I'm going to finish my point.
Go ahead.
The net of it is
He's
very simple.
tapped into.
The officer acted in self-defense based upon a reasonable threat that he can articulate in court. This is provable. His own body camera footage shows him being struck by the car.
I agree that
Finish, Mason. His own body camera footage shows him being struck by the car. So if you're going to sit here and deliberately ignore something that we can all sit and look at, there is no point in continuing this dialogue.
I will.
All right. Let me handle that
He will
and
not be held responsible because the Department of Justice and the federal government are the one that's investigating the own federal government's crimes.
So then you
they're
agree
not
it's-
even
oh,
allowing.
I see what
They're
you're
not even allowing collaboration with state and local law enforcement. Do you not believe in the 10th Amendment?
You mean the same
Do
state
you
law
believe in-
enforcement that doesn't want ICE to do their job?
Let me ask you
That's
this.
state law enforcement?
Yeah.
Let's say
Bo.
it's just a court of whatever. I don't care if it's national or with a state. Do you think he'd be found guilty in a court of law for murdering her?
So we have not only the video that people just watched, which I recommend you open in another tab and watch the video as we're having this discussion. What we can explain right now is the woman was in her car. She was acting cordially with ICE agents. Sure, she might have been throwing some insults here and there. We all believe in the First Amendment.
Can you just answer
we all
my
believe.
question?
We all believe in the First Amendment.
My
say your
question was, if this is in a court of law, let's say you're the judge.
Yeah.
Would you find him guilty of murder?
Yeah.
Or would you find him innocent with self-defense?
I would find him guilty of third-degree murder. I don't think it was premeditated, but what we can see from the video evidence, which, again, the Department of Justice is trying to tell you that your eyes are not.
No, a lot of us have looked at the video, and a lot of us are coming to two different determinations. That's really frustrating.
On the basis of party lines.
Look at the reality. I didn't even get to finish my statement. I answered your question.
Okay.
I respect that. So if we zoom out, we look at the entire video in its entirety. She's in a car. Sure, she's throwing some insults here and there. That's First Amendment protected. She is not showing imminent threat, which is what the officer claimed.
She's already telling
It is what Kristi Noem said. She is a domestic terrorist who had imminent threat and intent to kill.
Kristi Noem looks like a botched Barbie doll. Are we really about to listen to Kristi Noem?
ICE agents. This is a woman who is sitting in her car, surrounded by the same ICE agent who goes to shoot her 4 times in the face with his own footage, is showing that she is not presenting clear threat. She says, I'm not trying to do anything bad to you, dude. You can go ahead and go. Her wife, or her widow now, is literally saying, go ahead, go get a sandwich, you fat cop or whatever. Again, First Amendment protected. And what does he do? What does he do? He goes to the front of the vehicle, in front of where she is showing that she is trying to go, where she just waved a car to go around her to leave the premises. And the ICE agent who told her to disperse from the area, she tries to do so and then is immediately cornered by ICE trucks.
They told her to step out of the car.
Can I butt in real quick? And when she backed up, her vehicle was then aiming at the ICE officer.
No, it was aiming at the right.
Listen,
everyone can
everybody can watch the video.
Look at the wheels.
Guys, can you I let you guys talk.
You're just lying.
So this is the problem that we have in the world today, is that we're watching the same video and we're actually experiencing two different things. I saw her back up and point her vehicle, and it was pointed directly at the ICE officer. And then she moved forward. Literally, her wheel was pointed to the left, and then she turned it to the right. I don't think she was trying to hit the officer on purpose. What happened is he was positioned in front, and he made.
Sorry, I'm late voting in Antifa leader.
Move. But here's the really frustrating thing: is you guys go, she was smiling right before, so it's okay if somebody is.
What are you?
You guys had yes, you had.
They're grasping at straws, bro.
Someone's a domestic terrorist that shows an imminent threat to ICE agents. ICE agents are not going to surround the car.
Somebody in
That's
the
what happens.
No, but she was tailing them for hours and then blocking and impeding.
What's wrong? Okay, tailing for hours is not illegal. Blocking traffic? Sure, she was skimming the line. But because she was blocking traffic and decided to try and drive away, that's justified for, like, killing her? This is some coonery right here.
Obstruction of justice.
She federal car to go around her.
So,
Did you not watch the video?
Okay, bro. Waving one car to go forward doesn't mean she's complying. She's been blocking the entire protest. And while officers, you guys won't even let me talk for 10 seconds. When officers were walking around, somebody had mentioned that she was smiling. It was like, I'm not here to hurt you. What, do you think it's okay to run somebody over when they smile and say that they're not here to hurt you?
She wasn't intending to run him over.
Then how did he suffer internal bleeding, Mason? That's the part you still run from.
Because that stupid-ass cop, stupid-ass ICE agent, caught himself stepping in front of the car when it was clear that she swerved away from him and he got hit because he decided to, stupidly enough, get inside, like, step somewhat in front of the car and it hit his hip. Fucker. Move away from the car. You don't want to get hit. On top of that, he was trying to shoot her too.
I think she was.
I'm not running
Mason,
from it.
I think she was naked.
You've been doing it this whole time.
He was clipped by the car. I've already.
He was literally clipped by the car.
Which then justifies his use of force.
Hold on, Austin. I need you to open your ears real quick.
Yes, it does.
They've been open.
Do you know how many police officers have been hit by cars? And none of them decided to, you know, use that as an excuse to kill someone. He just, like...
This whole time, Mason, you gotta say something with some substance to me. Say something with
I
some
already
substance.
have. He's the one who put himself in front of the car.
He can do that. He's a cop.
No,
she told her to stop
Let's
moving.
go with the DHS story.
So he
if
can
she is
kill her?
if she is a domestic terrorist, one sec. If she is a domestic terrorist with imminent threat to kill ICE agents, as Kristi Noem, as the President of the United States has claimed, ICE agents should not surround her car. If you are trying to prioritize not only the person that you're going after's life, but your own life, you don't surround a car that is intending to kill you. You hide behind your vehicle. You disperse from the area. You draw your guns from.
You neutralize the threat.
Yes, you don't go towards a car that's trying to kill you.
So you know law enforcement policy.
If yes,
you know law enforcement policy.
The government Office of Accountability. Can I read to you something before you laugh?
This is humorous to me.
No, the Office of Government Accountability specifically says that federal agents should not discharge weapons to stop moving vehicles. This is the policy.
Wow. Gave the policy word for word, bar for bar, and there's guess what? They're still going to justify it.
What's really sad is none of you guys even knew who Renee was before this happened.
Before she was killed by law enforcement.
What is sad
None of us knew
is that she's training with
So I actually want to make
with
a point
group called
that I've been waiting to
Detach ICE or whatever.
And I can't. So I think in this conversation we brought up a lot.
You know you were when you start
This
laughing.
woman
Hey, that's some
was
coonery.
in contact and in proximity to ICE agents, and that they are at this level of authority. This is being used as grounds for why what happened happened, and I think that there is no room for that argument because someone's life was taken. And I think that no matter in what way, shape, or form you break the law, even if it's in regard to, like, I would say, like, proximity. When it comes to something that's like proximity and who you're around, there's no way, shape, or form that should lead to someone fearing for their life. Like the argument in the case that's been made on this side is that because of this, when you do things that people of authority would not like, that can lead to you dying.
As a black person, I'm gonna say this. Harriet Tubman would have left his ass behind. These are one of the people that Harriet Tubman would have definitely left behind. And this is definitely the type of person where if you were like a slave, this guy would have definitely told that you were trying to escape. Like the coonery, the tap dancing. It's like, brother.
I just don't think that I think that's the moral of the story, and I think that's just what we want to attack. The fact that he was in some way made in contact with the car is understandable. I'm sure she was fearing for her life in that moment, or fearing for her safety. And there's so many different ways that he could have de-escalated that situation in regards to removing himself, in regards to...
I mean, you have masked men. You have masked men with guns telling you to get out of your car. There are people who are impersonating ICE agents because ICE agents don't have, even though they have to. They were told that by President Vagina Neck that they don't have to show their face, even though they have to, even though that there are laws now saying that they have to show their face. You have, like, I wouldn't want to get out the car. I would feel scared too. Like, if some masked guy that doesn't have to identify himself told me to get out of my car. Like, hello?
Finding ways to kind of regroup, to get this woman and figure out what was going on, right? Even if he really truly felt that she wasn't a citizen, your first instinct should not be to shoot someone in the face.
Policy question. How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not.
Each time I see this man, I shall be nice.
Because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay?
We're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Guys, I'm telling you right now that, like, I sound completely stupid because I want to take Greenland for no fucking reason, and this is definitely like going to activate NATO because but like I don't fucking care because like I want Greenland. He doesn't look as cheatery as he normally does.
I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do
We
it the
don't
easy way, we're going
need-
to do it the hard way.
Trump taking over Greenland is essential to national security.
Not even national, international, galactal, all of it in between, all of the above. The only reason why they want Greenland is because they have some type of resource that we can use, which we don't need. We really don't need.
Check us out.
I don't think you guys can read.
What did you, bro? Why do you have to come out with an insult? That's just like ridiculous.
Because you said check this out. We don't agree. Clearly, I think you guys would say it is essential to national security.
It really is essential to national security.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I thought you guys had thick skin. I'm really sorry.
No, it's.
I actually know you. I can know you can read. I'm sorry. I was actually just making a joke.
You got a habit of doing it.
It's just not a good joke. Like
you got a habit of doing that. Stop.
Sorry.
Oh, don't stop telling jokes and trying to expose me for not knowing how to read. And even if you were joking, it still hurt my feelings. Oh, the little MAGA baby bitch, and you're hurting my feelings because I can't read over a second grade level, and you're actually showing I can't read over a second grade level.
So I don't think Greenland is essential to our national security, but I also understand where Trump is coming from.
Okay. Wait, are we going? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought we were restarting. I really wasn't trying to cause an emotional rise. I was just.
You don't get emotional.
You didn't cause an emotional rise. I was just curious why you would say that.
To say that we couldn't read is because we don't think that is
Colonization.
What about it?
I heard you say.
I said hashtag colonizer.
So can you just elaborate a little bit on what that?
Well, if we're going to take over Greenland, I think that would fall under the definition of leftist idea of colonization, would it not?
Colonization cool?
Yeah, it's happened.
Of course the white man would say that. That's all. Of course the white man would say that colonization is cool. Put on a t-shirt. Colonization is cool. Brother.
Throughout all of society that's ever
Honestly,
existed.
I'm done for. I think this I think we got it. So
What'd you
like
get?
colonization. I don't.
I don't.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that then. Is colonization good thing to you?
Well, it's good if we're out there colonizing other countries,
if we're
right?
out there taking.
We have colonized. No, we have destabilized other countries, calling it good for them, and it's not. I mean, look at what happened to fucking Venezuela. And other countries that we have quote unquote colonized and destabilized. Brother.
Countries, controlling them politically.
Listen, it's funny because he started this conversation with a joke, and then
Negatively
I lay down a
affecting their
joke, and you're getting.
Now you want to say colonization's a joke?
I'm confused. You just so you don't like colonization.
Do you I guess the real question is, do you like
the way I look at it is, if we're out there and we're trying to, for example, increase our infrastructure and make our world better.
Why are we trying? There's no good reason. Nobody can give me a good reason to colonize Greenland because Greenland is protected by the Danish kingdom. And guess who's also protected? That's included within NATO. If you're going to attack Greenland, you're literally attacking NATO.
Greenland, out of all places, which the hashtag colonizer joke fits in, because Greenland wants to be a part of us.
The Prime Minister just said they want to be part of Denmark.
Well, then let them be part of Denmark. That's
actually Greenland I think it's like a silly little haha, but I remember seeing something online saying that either Denmark or Greenland was like offering to buy the USA. I think they even made a joke saying that they were gonna try and buy like California or something.
Fine.
Okay.
So
debate's over. W.
It was Denmark.
Well, we all agreed that it wasn't.
No! Don't fist bump the colonizer. You just fist bumped the guy that said colonization was cool. What the fuck? Oh. Ew.
What I will say about the colonization thing is, listen, I think if your country is being colonized, you should probably fight back. And currently, America's being colonized. I would say
By
most.
who?
No, yeah, by who?
Bro, we just had 20 million people come across the border
And that's
the last 4 years.
colonization.
That is, of course,
Can you
colonization.
explain what colonization is, so the viewers know?
Colonization is the colonizing of any other country.
Which means?
This guy, he was a part of the No Child Left Behind program when he was in school. Cause ain't no way. Ain't no way.
I mean, setting up territories within a country that benefits your school.
So
or
things
whatever.
like controlling economics, things like controlling military.
You mean
power,
exactly
things
like what they're doing in
territory.
Minnesota with the Somalians, creating
Somalians
fraud? And...
control.
That's not. That
No.
doesn't.
What I am saying is that we have been invaded as a country.
Homie's like, I can't believe I identify as a like conservative with this guy. Why did Sargent just say something equally as stupid? He's like, I can't believe I'm sitting next to this guy. It's like, this guy is fucking stupid.
20 million people came across our border.
Okay.
That is us being colonized.
No, no.
That is
no,
an invasion.
No, it
Let's
isn't.
go. Let's have Austin debate you.
Wait, hold on, Austin. UK and England, would you consider them, they've been colonized?
What you just said about the immigrations is not colonization.
Dude,
Like, if you got the Christian MAGA guy to disagree with you, it's clear you're on the wrong side of history, bro. Immigration and colonization are not the same thing. They're not, bro. They're not.
Immigrants, we have to understand, well, this is why I'm a Christian populist. You have to understand that people, we cannot, at this table,
You can't even.
no, I can. People, the 20 billion plus people that want to come over to this country are still coming over because they're escaping what legitimate colonization is. Let me finish.
No, it's because NGOs have set them up and paid for their trip across.
Please let me finish talking. There are billions of people that I know. Dr. Derek Kayongo, who's a friend of mine, who was the former CEO of the National Center for Civil and Human Rights. I know, I've seen what colonizers do to people. I've seen it. The billions of people that are coming, that want to come to this country from overseas, are doing so because they feel.
He's becoming sentient, guys. Let's see how long he stays sentient.
They have no other choice. Are they coming
That's
over
not
here illegal?
true.
Are they coming
That's
over
not
here?
true. You think every single one of those 20 million people that came across the border the last 4 years came?
It wasn't 20 million people. Okay, it wasn't. They're marked as encounters. Okay, if you see a footprint in the sand or in some mud, like they're going to count that as an encounter. Now, if an ICE agent 20 minutes after the first ICE agent came across that footprint, they're also going to mark that as an encounter. There's no proof that there's over 20 million immigrants in the country. Like, there's no proof.
Came across the border with good intentions.
What I'm saying to you is this. What I'm saying to you is this. If their country was so damn great, they wouldn't be coming over here on boats. They wouldn't be coming over here any kind of way they could to get to the United States of America. This is still the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I totally understand that. We're being invaded.
Wait a minute.
Let's get back to Greenland.
Hold on. Colonization is what happened to my people for 400 plus years.
Damn, eat them up.
That's what colonization.
What do you mean your people?
I mean people that got melanin in their skin like me. That's what colonization is. That's what happened to my people.
So colonization can only happen by white people, is what you're saying.
Oh my god. Colonization has only happened so far, like within, as we're talking about within the United States, by white people, yes. Within U.S. history, colonization has only been by white people. I'm not talking about the world, I'm talking about the USA.
Colonization can happen by, all you need is two classes. All you need is an oppressor and the oppressed.
Okay.
That's all you
And the white people are the oppressor. The black people, Hispanic people, anybody who's not white is oppressed.
Need. So the net of it is, and I want you to understand what I'm saying. Colonization, the way you are describing it, immigrants coming over here, that doesn't meet the textbook standard definition. Because what it does meet is an immigration problem.
He's mad that he brought up. He's mad that he brought up colonization, and now he can't hold. He can't hold the conversation now. Like, he thought this guy was on his side, but now this guy is like turning against him because he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Now he's schooling him. Like now his bitch ass wants to get back to talk about Greenland, but no, you brought up colonization. So now your ass is gonna get ate up on colonization because you don't know what colonization is.
But the immigration problem would have to be handled differently. Logically, you cannot treat people wanting to escape from legitimate tyranny
this is
as the same. No.
You're just going to keep talking, or can I address this?
Please.
Because basically you're saying colonization fits this tight script that nobody can veer from. What happens when millions of people invade the border is then they have those people assume places of power. Like
That's not colonization.
And then do horrible legislation.
Does she have more power than the president of the United States?
I'm not talking about more power. What do you think happens when you're being colonized? The power dynamic ends up switching.
When the Irish came over here, was that to colonization of America? Like, when does it become colonization? Like, what skin tone?
I don't think the skin tone matters.
Okay.
That's the point I'm getting at. And if you look at like the UK, for example, right now that is basically fighting for their UK sovereignty, they have basically been colonized. The most popular name...
Well, that's not the question I asked.
Let me just finish. The most popular name in several cities throughout the UK and Ireland is Muhammad.
So it is about skin tone?
No, it isn't.
Okay, so...
They have been... It's not about skin tone. It's about culture. It's about...
How are you going to tell the difference between a Mexican person who was born here, lives here, has a family here, versus an asylum seeker who came here to have a better life for their family or whatever, follows the law, does what needs to be done, and then you have a person who is an illegal immigrant, has a really bad criminal record, like, this conversation is stupid.
Culture, yeah, religion,
So when
you
a
could add skin
culture-
tone in there, sure, but it's about
So
so,
it
many other
is.
things. The thing is, when the Irish came over here, they assimilated, they were Christian, they were Catholics.
We have to, so they have to act like the white people who were here before for it to
No,
not
what I'm saying is multiculturalism doesn't work, because eventually the bottom ends up taking over the top.
As we're all having a conversation, multicultural.
What's the top again? Can you explain what the top
The top would be Judeo-Christian values here in America that believe in sovereignty, the individual, individualism, and basically freedom.
I think that we're just operating from different points of reference and different research. I think that this is like kind of indicative of when your whole political philosophy comes from like social media and like meme accounts. Like sometimes you don't have the full scope of what's actually happening in the world. And I think it's kind of fucked up for us to pile up on that type
No,
of...
literally, we're gonna watch a video on that. Christianity was brought here, right? But funny enough, when the founding fathers made the Constitution, they said that you cannot use your religious beliefs to impede on others. Like, literally, like for example, when they were trying to overturn Roe v. Wade, all those white men were in the government saying, well, the Bible says, fuck your Bible. Like, that was literally them impeding on other people's, like, America is not just a Christian country. There's Muslims here, there's Jewish people here. Like, America is a little melting pot of people, of religions. America is not just Christian. It's not just Catholic. It's not just, like, it's not. So like,
Worldview, you know, like I think we should just maybe get back to Greenland. Like,
sure.
yeah, get back to Greenland before you get up even more, bro.
Well, going back to Greenland, so I'll be honest, I'm not, again, a fan of just taking over these places, but I can understand where Trump is coming from. That he doesn't want Russia or China to take over Greenland.
Russia is literally trying to take over Ukraine. The fuck are you on about? Even Russia, while trying to take over Ukraine, said that Trump shouldn't be allowed to take over Greenland. Brother.
So he's basically saying that, you know, if we don't do it, somebody else will. While at the same time, Greenland has been part of Denmark for a long time. So.
And Denmark is a NATO ally, so for Trump to even assert that Trump taking over Greenland is essential to national security, if he did that, he would violate the very agreement that the United States has with NATO, and he would destabilize the alliances that we already have. So if you did that, Mr. President, if you're even thinking about that, please don't.
And I just wanted to take back my statement earlier because I was operating under the assumption that you guys would agree with Donald Trump. So I'm glad to see ideological diversity. I appreciate y'all being honest and defying the president's direct.
The president doesn't run me. Jesus of Nazareth does.
Understandable.
Trump does have a valid point in wanting to not take it over, but he does have a point in wanting to ensure that the Chinese or the Russians don't gain more access to Greenland than they already do. But again, because Greenland is is owned by Denmark and Denmark is a NATO ally, there's no real way for this to even really be a necessary conversation, because it would, if Russia or China even attempted to do something with Greenland, that's war. That's war talk starting, seriously. So that's just not a it's not that it's a bad topic, but if that were to happen on either side, it would create the necessary conditions for war to take place.
I also think you guys would probably differ on Trump's economic plan to like buy out Greenland. Because like he proposed giving $100,000 to like every Greenland citizen. I just think that's such a slap in the face to Americans here whose quality of life and cost of living is skyrocketing.
If he did that, I would
be
pissed because black people still ain't got reparations.
Yeah.
Crazy thing is, like, there are there are people who are from Russia who are immigrants. There are people from all over the country, all over the world, who are immigrants, who are white presenting, but no one's going after them because they look like your average white person. But they're not racially profiling people from Russia or people who like white presenting who are also immigrants. They're literally going after people with brown skin, with accents, who speak Spanish. Like, at this point, I don't get it. I don't get it. JD Vance is literally married to a woman who, if she did not have the status of like first lady to the vice president, or if she didn't have the status she had, she definitely would have been on a boat, on a plane, back to the country she came from, no matter if she was a US citizen. Trump's wife, if she didn't hold the status she had, would have also been probably on a plane going back to wherever she came from. So the fact the fact that all of these people, like the fact that the ICE agent that killed Renee Good had an immigrant wife. The math is a math thing. Right now 2 + 2 is equaling to 5 instead of 4. Like, that's just how stupid it is.
It's crazy.
So
this guy is just randomly based.
Wait, that's
I'm really
what?
confused. Like,
So you think black people should get reparations?
100%.
we generated over $233 billion for the United
You didn't.
Okay, no.
Yes, we did. Black people haven't gotten reparations, but you know who did? I think the Native Americans. But not only that, hello, fucking during our war with Japan, when we were having like Asian Americans, like when we were putting Asian Americans in camps, they got reparations for like what happened to them. So what's stopping America from giving reparations to black people? I have an aunt that's 120 years old. Like she's been she's been alive to see it all. If she was to die, I feel like my family should still get some type of reimbursement because she went through it all, you know? So like there are people who are still alive from the time of the Holocaust who got reparations. You know? Like let's not sit here and pretend like the people who died like the survivors from the Holocaust are not still alive and well. That black people who were alive during Jim Crow are not still alive and well. These people are still alive. Ruby Bridges is around my mom's age, if not my grandma's age. She's still alive and well. So let's not sit here and be disingenuous about why we can't give black people reparations.
I didn't, but my ancestors did. So hold on, Cena, please let me have this one, if you don't mind. I just debated Chattel Jackson on this, by the way.
It was a good debate.
It was, thank you.
Oh, now I see why you guys agreed.
Well, again, Jesus runs me, Trump and the Republican Party doesn't. So the thing is, you can prove, and this is conclusively so, that there are two things that happen why black people should get reparations. If Trump has the money to give $100,000 to every Greenland citizen, where the hell is the $250,000 for all of my ancestors' descendants that built this nation? Black people generated in the 1800s, we generated what is equivalent now to $233.6 billion in total economic value for the United States.
I don't think that means you should get reparations.
Well, no, but what,
I'm
but,
also
well,
struggling.
I feel
like,
that. I feel
we're
that.
all struggling.
Okay, right. I feel that. I understand it. Everybody's struggling. Okay, that's because we have a fiat currency. We're going to talk about the Fed in a minute. But gold standard's coming back. But again, what we can prove is even after slavery, that created what's called economic disparate impact that lasted for decades. Daniel Patrick Moynihan referenced this in his report, and he was a special assistant to Lyndon Johnson, by the way. He said that because of slavery, black people are owed, and this is a white man that said this, by the way. He released.
I don't care what color he is.
But I'm establishing a baseline of thought. You know what I'm saying? He stated that the federal government actually does owe black people some form of economic recompense for the economic impact that was still lasting. Richard Nixon, who was a Republican, picked up what Moynihan generated was called a universal basic income plan that passed in the House, failed in the Senate because it didn't get enough Democratic support. So, and this was the same framework that Dr. Martin Luther King was using all those years ago to justify.
You can throw out names all you want.
I'm throwing out facts and data.
Like I said, you can throw out names, facts, and data all you want. All I'm saying is I don't believe that anybody should get reparations. I'm struggling just like you guys are. And I think what would benefit us all the most would be if we can figure out all this fraud, take away the federal taxes that Trump is kind of promising, would benefit all of us. Versus going, hey, you know what? Black people that many, I'm sure, might not have any relation to slavery, get a paycheck because of reparations.
Okay, well, watch this. Well, hold on. Wait.
How can we determine who was or is, who wasn't or is a descendant of slaves?
Yeah, so there are so many ways to do this just by tracking like lineage and like in regards to genealogy as well as just like in general. We know that like the majority.
I don't believe anybody should get reparations. The Japanese Americans got reparations. I don't believe anybody should get reparations. The Native Americans got reparations. I don't believe anybody should get Tuskegee victims from like 1974 got some type of reimbursement. Fucking slave owners in 1862. got reparations. Like, what the fuck are we on?
Majority of Black Americans in this country come from descendants of slavery. There are, I'm like, for example, my parents are immigrants, so I'm not a descendant of slaves, right? But we know for a fact the majority are, and we can also just look at this thing called generational wealth and that cycle that perpetuates. Let's not forget that after slavery, there was
screw the people that
stop
screw
talking
the white
so I can
people that
finish.
don't have generational wealth and just give it to other people.
Well, you know what? Blame your ancestors. White people have had a 400-year head start. If your ancestors did not take the opportunity to take advantage of all of the opportunities that they got, while Black people did not have those same opportunities, blame your ancestors. If you didn't get the good end of the stick, that's because of your ancestors. Not because of Black people. Because Black people didn't have the opportunity, didn't have the chance, or anything like that to get what your ancestors got. And speaking of privilege, white people can vote freely. Black people, like the voting, the Voting Rights Act, right? The Voting Rights Act of 1965. Mind you, Trump had just turned 18. It was in 1964, 1965. Trump had just turned like 18 around that time, where Black people started to get like something, right? Trump was alive during that time. Every 10 to 20 years, we have to vote to keep our voting rights. Every 10 to 20 years. I think it's every 20 years, but I'm saying 10 to 20 years. Every 10 to 20 years, we have to vote to make sure that the Voting Rights Act stays in place. Because it was put to make sure that people of color are able to vote just the same way that just the same way that white people are. Like the Crowns Act to stop people from discriminating against Black people who don't, I'm sorry, have straight hair. And people want to shit on DEIA because people forget the A. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, accessibility, because the A stands for people who are in wheelchairs, right? People who have some type of disability, right? There are actual statistics that prove that white women got more out of DEIA than Black people. And people try to use DEIA as a before you get hired, like you're like looking at someone's application, you're choosing between two people. No, like DEIA kicks in after you're hired to make sure you get the same opportunities as your coworkers, to make sure that you get the same training as your coworkers, to make sure that there's no bias. But DEIA has turned into like this whole thing of you didn't earn a type shit, and it's so fucking stupid.
Right? That's why I'm a leftist. I actually want us to co-create the generations of wealth for the future, but regardless, let's not.
I love that.
Right?
We could talk more about that.
We can, and once you let me finish, right? So let's not forget the fact that Jim Crow happened, segregation happened.
Exactly.
Exactly, which perpetuated a cycle downward of poverty for the black population in America.
What about
this? Simply did not happen. You did not have, and none of your ancestors in this country did not have legal bars on the amount of wealth you could create generationally
Yes,
for the basis of
yes,
race.
they did.
No,
I
they
love that you
didn't.
pointed out the Irish earlier.
Wait.
Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
I love that you pointed out the Irish earlier because this actually ties
They're kind of off topic, but I mean, whatever.
in really well. The Irish and Italians came to this country and they were not allowed to own land.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were immigrants. They had to become white males in order to do it. So basically they had to throw away their old roots, classify themselves as American males in order to get land.
Wouldn't you call them white today, though?
Sure.
And that's just because it's a flexible
But,
term.
can
I'm
I-
not trying to dismantle everything.
No,
that
no,
you're
I just
saying.
want to finish what I'm saying and then I'll let you talk.
I think you're talking about the economic plight of the immigrant, though, really well. And I just want to commend you on explaining how immigrants
you.
coming here
Thank
can
you, I
put them in a
appreciate
disadvantaged position.
Sure.
I'm just saying it's not congruent with also like your opinions on state violence against migrants or anything that you just said in the last prompt. So I wanted to make that distinction.
What state violence against a migrant? She was a white woman. So regardless of that.
I was talking about ICE in general, not just Renee Good.
Well,
anyway, keep going.
I forgot where I was.
I'm sorry.
Can he
That's
stop?
all right.
Can,
Yeah, I
can
think that
you
what
stop
both were saying,
talking?
like all three of them were
Actually,
saying, they're not mutually exclusive, right? Like we can talk about certain debts that, like, yes, the Irish and the Italians had economic plights. They weren't chatteled in as like prior property.
But don't
which is
say
different.
I totally understand that, but don't say here that we didn't go through problems.
You did.
No, of
No
course.
one said
Throughout
that
all
here.
of humanity, everybody has had.
I'm going-
you went through problems. Yes. Sure. You went through problems. But like, saying that a group of people who were enslaved doesn't deserve reparations when other groups did is a very stupid stance.
Say,
You're right.
I'm
So
gonna-
Do you guys know where the
I'm
word
going to
slave
say-
comes
I'm
from?
going to say something.
Do you know
that
where?
will-
Do you guys know where the word slave comes from?
I do.
chattel
I'm
slavery is
going,
different.
wait, I'm going to say something. There has been no other ethnic group within the confines of the history of this nation that had the color of their skin stigmatized like Black Americans did. Not one. So let me say that one more time for the camera. There is no other ethnic group in the history of this nation that had the color of their skin defined as the basis upon which they were stigmatized and used as a thing, as a tool, not a person to be respected.
And even
So
that's
the net net of
not
it is
true.
bullshit.
It is true.
10 years,
God, you're-
they have been stigmatizing straight white males and basically keeping them out of universities, jobs, and moving up in.
What? Goodbye. Goodbye. Cause ain't no way he just said that, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way he just tried to play the white tears, bro. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Bro. Bro. Hold on. I have something for him. I have something in response to this.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
I'm sorry.
Careers because of it.
And the thing is,
all
Bo-
the reports are coming
Actually,
out.
no,
Right
I'm
now.
not sorry.
Mason, let me get this. Let me get this.
Wait, but you just
do
got
know
a
that
great
at one
monologue.
point, you do know that at one point it was illegal to even teach slaves to read. It was illegal to even issue birth certificates.
I
It
understand.
was
You never
illegal.
went through that. Why should I pay you for
Okay,
it?
listen, my daddy was born in 1965. He and his mother, let me be clear, my grandmother, saw Dr. King give the I Have a Dream speech. Shirley Franklin saw Dr. King give the I Have a Dream speech. So they were alive during the time that the lasting economic impact of slavery and redlining and Jim Crow and segregation and the lack of real estate access had direct impacts on Black Americans. So we may not have been in the fields, but we were still suffering the economic disparity of impact from policies that were hundreds of years old. So if
and
you're
now
going to
white
tell-
And don't forget redlining, because redlining, like, you have to, like, banks require for like people who work in banks, like they have to take these courses to make sure that they do not redline black people. Like they have to take courses to make sure that they don't discriminate against like black people and do redlining.
You guys are suffering economic impacts because of what you guys have done for DEI for the last 10 years. I'm actually shocked.
Black people only made up 3% of all DEI hires. What are you talking about?
I know it actually benefited white women the most, didn't it?
Okay, so why would you bring that up?
I was talking about white men.
But I would like to add.
So if DEI helped white people more,
Didn't say that. I said you have been
put him back.
the last several years.
Stuff him back up the baby maker. Okay, like just reverse it. Stuff him back in the baby maker. He's not fully developed yet.
No, I would
Don't pretend like you haven't.
White women have been oppressing you, so keep that in y'all's.
I would say.
White men still dominate the social, economic, and political power structures.
So I would like to say, like, regardless, like, everything that was said was true, but I think that you're speaking
That's
to
fascinating.
But I think what you're speaking to is a real anger, Bo, of like the economic plight of working class people. There are so many people in like the Appalachia and West Virginia who are struggling from outsourcing, specifically manufacturing, leaving these countries. All of these people who had high-paying jobs that suddenly left just because wealthy interests did not give a shit about those people's lives. I totally agree with you there.
I get that.
But the only reason
what I'm saying is we shouldn't do race-based race-based stuff, tax incentives, jobs, employment. I think all
Race has been caked and baked into America. Everything has to do with race. Everything. Everything. You can't just forget about race because America is literally built on race. My job asked me, what do I identify as? When I was filling out a job application. My FAFSA asked me, what do I identify as? Black, Hispanic, Indigenous. Everything has to do with race. Everything. So, like, this man's just beating a dead horse.
All of that is wrong.
But
it should be taken off the table.
Reparations were promised to people after historical stigmatization and the owning of people's bodily autonomy. That was a debt that was
Not only that, not only the owning of black people, they ate us. They sexually abused us. They used our skin for leather and for couches. They used our children as alligator bait. What else? They hung us from trees. What else? They burned down our towns, our black only towns after saying they didn't want us there. Like, oh yeah, and speaking of towns, they burned down a town and flooded it with water and now it's a lake, right? So, like, I don't know what he was going on about.
guaranteed by the very first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln. And that should be seen through. It should not just be a false promise.
You know what? I understand where you're coming from.
He doesn't understand where we're coming from.
And I think that
the problems that came from not giving it are still here. Like it's not going to go away.
This was a very interesting discussion for 15 minutes. I think we kind of all agreed that Trump taking over Greenland is not necessarily essential to national security, and then that kind of spiraled into a conversation about colonization, which we know that America has a in-depth history of doing that. How the hell did we get this land that we're on right now? And that spiraled into a very, very interesting dialogue where we now have different conversations and thoughts and opinions on reparations, stigmatization, and Zena, what else did we cover? I think
you covered a lot of it. I mean, I'm learning that we all have different conceptions of what colonization is, whether it's good or bad, but also the lasting effects of economic subjugation and the billions of dollars that Black Americans freely bestowed onto one very small percentage of the population that has not been
Hadn't been redispersed. You know, if I ever thought about a redistribution of wealth, I'm not a communist or a socialist, but this would be one time that I would stand with Dr. King, I would stand with Moynihan, I would stand with Nixon, by the way, 2 Democrats, 1 Republican, for balance. I think I would stand there that we do need, the initial distribution of wealth in this country was flawed, so we do need a redistribution of wealth in this nation to make things a little bit more equal.
And early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice.
The Maduro capture is an historic achievement in Trump's foreign policy record.
Historic,
I just want to say this. Trump did all of that to get oil, right? And all the investors didn't even want it. They said that they wouldn't see any type of investment, or they wouldn't see any type of reward from their investments until like years from now, like years, decades. Not only that, you took a dictator out only for another dictator to go in and say, fuck you, deal. You're not getting anything. So what was the point?
To say the least. I mean, that's why I agreed with this, is I do think it's a historic achievement, but curious to know your guys' thoughts.
It's definitely historic.
So
I
you
think
agree?
The achievement part is really where the crux of the debate is going to be, whether or not like the invasion of sovereign nations is something that should be celebrated, or whether or not the United States should try to go diplomacy first when it comes to the way that it engages.
Well, you mean after the United States government, several previous presidential administrations placed several sanctions against Maduro because he is well documented to be oppressive to regimes that are anti-him, to citizens that are anti-his administration. And since he took office in 2013, he has been nothing but oppressive to the Venezuelan people. So I think Trump did what he was supposed to do.
But we are not the international police. We are not the international police. I feel like one of America's big problems is getting into the issues of other countries without need be. No one made the USA international police. Like, we had no business being in Venezuela.
Removed a socialist, at minimum, communist in practice dictator from a region where people were suffering.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are areas that you can point to that are repressive. I don't think that because a leader is necessarily repressive towards his own people means that any action is justified from the United States. I mean, I don't know if intervention is like the most successful track record from.
Well, other administrations placed several. You didn't address the rest of what I said. Other presidential administrations put sanctions on Maduro. They talked about getting Maduro. It's interesting. The Biden administration and Kamala Harris were saying we're going to go get him, but when Trump does it, Trump bad. All these other administrations have all the things. Well, Maduro's a criminal. We need to get him out. They do nothing. Trump gets in, 45, 47, gets in, gets rid of him. Now all of a sudden, oh my God, we're being oppressive. We're America. We're the police of the world.
Yeah, nobody that is anti-imperialist is going to justify it, regardless of what power structures are in an administration. Like, you have to be able to look critically at the overall picture. So if Kamala Harris is the one saying she's going to abduct Maduro, or Joe Biden, or whoever, well, you just mentioned like previous presidents had been celebrating any action done against Maduro, and all of a sudden, like, it's not.
They took sanctions against him, but then they said they would get rid of him, but they didn't actually do it. So somebody actually does it.
Well, the point is whether or not the specific actions of military intervention is justified. That's kind of the whole point.
If you have a chance to free people from an
let me
oppressive
just
leader, yes.
Do you think they weren't justified? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that, and Republicans agreed with that up until
Some
Trump was
do, yeah.
reelected again, is because the United States should focus more on the infrastructure and the people that are here in the country, as opposed to spreading its military action to other nations.
So
that doesn't really seem like it just feels weird, the flip flop and the hypocrisy now they all say he's president.
I'm not naive enough to say that it was just because of fentanyl, but one of the reasons we went in is because hundreds of thousands of people have died from a horrible drug that is being trafficked in from the South America, the Central and South Americas. Correct. So that makes it a little more justifiable, I would say.
Could you confirm how much cocaine is actually made from Venezuela? Are they like one of the lead manufacturers?
Most of the drugs are coming from Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, and Mexico. So this strike had nothing to do with drug abuse. You cannot use the drug abuse problem to substantiate or explain why Trump made this strike. It probably has to do more with the oil, the 304 billion. Is it? I don't know what the
oil that later on, when Trump had his meeting with like all the investors, they said that they didn't want to invest because they weren't going to see any profit until like many years later.
There's a lot of oil, viscous oil, that U.S. refineries are really good at processing, that Trump is probably looking for in this country.
Well, U.S. companies set up those oil infrastructures there, and then Venezuela took them from us.
So
and then started.
Venezuela
I just let you finish? And then they basically gave it to China and Russia. And what I understand is that we don't want China and Russia in our backyard. That's also why we're going to talk about Greenland here in a little bit. But I totally understand why we would get those back and have them support our infrastructure versus our enemies.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying that Venezuela has oil in its ground.
I understood that.
That
we
America
set up.
wants. We set up the
American
oil
company,
that naturally
American
occurs in Venezuela ground.
We set up the
we set up the companies to extract that oil.
Okay, right. But the oil is in Venezuelan ground, which is what we're after, right? So it has less to do about the companies that America has established there. It has to do with the oil that naturally occurs.
Right, that they're also selling to China and Russia and basically benefiting our adversaries, as well as killing our citizens from fentanyl. And I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to be honest here. I lost somebody very close to me. I've lost a lot of people very close to me from those drugs. What do you?
These Doritos are good. I'm not gonna. My mom is kind of homeless. These chips are kind of good. This guy is kind of stupid. I'm gonna go grab Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, I'm saying.
That's okay. So
she's not questioning.
I thought that was sarcasm.
No.
And I can understand why an American who lost maybe a daughter, a son, a brother would justify that reaction into Venezuela. And I'll be honest, pretty psyched that we're going to take out the cartel too, because they've been funneling those in here. So
My dog stepped on a
You
bee.
realize that you should be like allocating this anger to countries that are not Venezuela. Like, these are not the producers of these drugs.
that's why in the very beginning I
Right.
said I'm not naive enough to know
So-
that it was just Venezuela and fentanyl that we went in for oil.
Venezuela is not
so-
even like one of the top countries you should be like targeting.
They're
on this
not.
issue.
And how do you
And
know
in
that?
fact,
How do you know where they get
because
their
I've-
drugs? They told you?
Because I have this thing.
Do you have a phone line?
Because we have this thing called Google, and Google's a search engine, and you can use it to find statistics and evidence to, look at, like, evidence. And if you're smart enough, if you're smarter than a fifth grader, right, You can look at that evidence, rub your two brain cells together, and figure out where all of these drugs come from, and find out, wow, Venezuela isn't like the bad person here. They're not the ones making these drugs.
And you're like, hey, Venezuela, like, oh yeah.
Wait, how do I
what
get
do you mean
information about
research?
what's going
How
on
do
in the
you
world?
What do you mean research? See, I told you, Trump supporters don't research, bro. The homie's against research.
You don't phone line?
Let's run.
They told you?
Because I have this thing.
Did you have a phone line? You're like, hey, Venezuela, like, oh yeah.
Wait, how do I
what
get
do you mean
information about
research?
what's going
How
on
do
in the
you
world?
know? You guys don't even trust CBS with Barry Weiss. How do you know the research you're getting is accurate?
So
what research have you?
There's research. First of all, I will trust CBS more over Fox News. I would trust CBS over Fox News because Fox News is all quote unquote entertainment until like it comes to Trump or other stuff. Like, this is me right now. This is my face. Right here. There's a contraceptive. Wait. There is a contraceptive on the end of your cowlick. I'm sorry, I'm not listening to anybody named Chunky Monkey.
What research have you seen that said Venezuela isn't sending drugs in here?
So we can just look at just like reports in general as to like where drugs
Reports
are coming
from where?
The U.S. Coastal Guard, do you trust them? Is that a
Sure,
source?
we get
Great. Then Venezuela is not one of the lead producers of fentanyl. So like I said,
I said, it wasn't the fentanyl that the reason we invaded. I just said,
but,
hey, they're Americans that believe it's justifiable.
There's a reason why you brought up the anecdote, which is sad. I think it's terrible that you lost someone to that. But that is not supposed to be used as an emotional.
Tons of Americans.
But it shouldn't be a reason why, again, we invade a country.
Well,
if
you
they're not
talked
one of the
about
leading parts of it.
infrastructure, and if they're killing our young men and women with fentanyl, they're destroying our infrastructure. That is taking care of American infrastructure.
You just have the wrong day. That's really the problem.
Sure, but that's why we're going after the cartel. Maybe we'll go after Bolivia. Maybe we'll go after Colombia next. I don't know. But I'm going to be honest. Anybody that's trying to harm American citizens, it's in America's best interest to make sure that they don't exist anymore.
You know what's actually so interesting? The majority of the people driving the boats, right, that are coming into this country carrying drugs are actually U.S. citizens. So U.S. citizens are contributing to the deaths of U.S. citizens.
Cool. They should be arrested and put in jail.
Awesome. So if
great. I'm
really,
glad we agree on that.
Right. So I think what the funny thing is, like, you're targeting the countries when the means to which these drugs come into our countries, it's an American problem, right? So if anything, we shouldn't be like striking boats off the coast of Venezuela without any due process to figure out what's inside of them, killing innocent people. Instead, we should be looking at, specifically the citizenship status of the people driving their boats.
Once she's done, he's going to say that what they did with the. I'm kind of betting that he's going to say that what they did with the boats was the bombings of the boats. He's gonna say that they did the right thing.
Into America. If there's U.S. citizens, we should probably be looking at them.
Paul Singer, does that ring a bell, that name?
No.
So Paul Singer is an oil executive, specifically who acquired 3 oil refineries off the coast of the Gulf of Venezuela. The only reason why he did that was because there was an appeal process to actually block that acquisition that was in place when Maduro was in power. Again, I'm not here to cheerlead or justify Maduro, but with Maduro out, that immediately went through. So when we have somebody that is benefiting off of $26 billion in net worth acquisition simply because of Donald Trump's military intervention, it seems like it's not really for altruism that we're going there to stop fentanyl from coming across the border. Like Zena said, they're not one of the main manufacturers. It's also not to liberate the Venezuelan people from a dictator. There are dictators across the world. That does not mean that we are going to go into every single one. And most conservatives, post George W. Bush, agreed with that idea that we shouldn't be the world police. We should be focusing on protecting people here. We should not be trying to intervene and establish democracy and spread freedom to everywhere, because we know that intervention only causes further destabilization and the power vacuum, which more extreme voices typically take over.
When we see that military interventions lead to like the coalition of groups like ISIS forming, because again, political stability creates the grounds for violent insurrection.
They were formed under
So
Bush
are we
and
gonna
Bush
act,
and
hold on,
Obama,
let me
right?
respond to that. Let me,
ISIS?
no. Let me respond to that. We're not going to act like President Trump
Military
doesn't have.
intervention of any kind.
Zena, hold on.
is
Let me ask you this:
would
are we going to act
not
like
good.
President Trump didn't help with the Abraham Accords? Are we going to act like Trump didn't try to run on a?
You think that helped the relations between Israel and Palestine? Was the
allow me to
Abraham
finish
Accords?
speaking,
Okay.
Mason, if you could,
Go ahead.
Trump has ran twice, 3 times on a campaign of being as anti-war as possible. So
Ooh,
again,
welcome.
I'm not going to claim what he's going to do. We don't know. We know the platform that he ran on. We know he tried to bring peace to the Middle East. We know that he has. If we talk about pattern recognition, which you've quoted, he has a pattern of trying to not allow conflicts to escalate beyond necessity. That
Are
is
you
a
sure?
I'm 100% sure. We can look at his track record and see that.
Yeah, we can look
He's
at
the
his
only
track
one
record.
trying to bring peace to the
does not
Middle
help
East
your
as
case.
well as
Only
Russia
one?
and Ukraine.
What does that mean?
He was the only. Okay, so before.
What was his attempt to bring
You gonna let me talk, bro?
So the Abraham Accords
You asked a
doesn't mean
question.
anything to
Let
you?
me answer.
Don't let him talk, bro. He's pro colonization, bro. Don't let him talk. Anyone who's pro colonization should not be talking.
Absolutely not. The moving of the embassy.
He won't even let me answer. He asked a question.
He asked me a question.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
moving of the embassy to Jerusalem absolutely increased tensions between Israel and Palestine. So let's not even pretend like Donald Trump is trying
Well,
to create
you
peace
know
in
why
the
that was
region.
done?
He's trying to suck off Benjamin Netanyahu.
No.
That's what he's
First of
doing.
all,
That's why he's pulling out the sheriff.
There is that angle, though.
Whoa.
Thank you.
There is. I will say that there is way too
this.
much ties of Benjamin Netanyahu interfering with American politics. So
the cologne
that I don't disagree with. But the Jerusalem, the U.S. removing their embassy to Jerusalem has more to do with religious affiliations and regions, which during
That's the whole war, dude. It's all religious affiliation.
Right. So okay.
But can we be honest though? Trump tried to broker peace in Ukraine, Russia, and Israel,
to
Gaza.
act like that hasn't been done.
Bro, can I just talk?
Go ahead.
And 8 other.
Bro, you keep interrupting me while I'm saying dumb shit. Let me say my misinformation and my dumb shit, please.
Wars. That's a good thing.
No, there's no presidential administration that would want to take the claim that
Biden
they created
was in there
peace.
for 4 years and didn't do anything.
No, you could talk about the difference in policy, but all of them have foreign policy that is trying to get peace in regions.
And
that's the point.
Trump's is decent. I'm not going to
It
say
is
superb,
not.
but it's decent.
It really isn't.
I would
He's
say,
unilaterally
I would say he's the
invading and
best.
bomb. Go
I
ahead.
would say he's the best at foreign policy of a
No,
president
he's
we've seen.
not. No, he's not. He tried to tell Ukraine that in order to stop the war, they need to give up land. That is not like a lot of the countries see Trump as a joke, bro.
He has almost ruined all alliances that we have with allies that have been with us historically.
You mean the ones that are all now oppressing their people, like the UK, France, that are arresting people for free speech? We have come to the conclusion that we don't like regime change wars, and what happened in Venezuela seems like it was over oil, maybe drugs, and other things. Yeah.
President Trump has mentioned on multiple occasions that the administration could probably bring a lawsuit against him. Did the president ever direct DOJ officials to open an investigation?
Oh my god, I hate this woman. Oh my god, she's like the biggest bootlicker within the Trump administration.
And can you reassure the American public that his longstanding criticisms and public comments about Powell had nothing to do with the investigation?
Look, the president has every right to criticize the Fed chair. He has a First Amendment right, just like all of you do. And one thing for sure, the president's made it quite clear, is Jerome Powell is bad at his job. As for whether or not Jerome Powell is a criminal, that's an answer the Department of Justice is going to have to find out, and it looks like they intend to find that out.
The DOJ probe into Jerome Powell is another example of Trump weaponizing investigations and undermining democracy.
I guess like the obvious question, right, is why is Jerome Powell in this position?
He's an acting Fed chair.
Why? But Who put him there?
Didn't Trump put him there originally?
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm going to say, I'm maybe by myself at this table, I'm sure on this one, but the Federal Reserve is the least democratically accountable institution that we have in the federal government. It literally prints every dollar that we have with immediate debt attached to it, and it literally, the law for the Federal Reserve was written off the coast of Georgia. Go read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. It is the least democratically accountable institution that exists, and I'm not against, first of all, Trump has not ordered an investigation into Jerome Powell.
That's right. Yeah.
Let me say that. One has not been ordered at the time of this recording. Caroline Leavitt is telling the truth. But if he were to investigate Jerome Powell, I don't see that that's weaponizing an investigation. It's certainly not undermining a democracy because the Federal Reserve doesn't answer to the Department of the Treasury. It doesn't answer to Congress. It doesn't even answer to the American people. How can you weaponize or undermine democracy when the institution that we're discussing doesn't have a democratic process through which to be
I think you're explaining a lot about the truth of the independence that the Federal Reserve has from the executive branch, and the reason why if Trump wants the federal chair removed and he can't do that through any legal means, the only way to do that is to criminalize or put that person under charges in order to take them out.
The whole Federal Reserve needs to be put under charges, personally.
Well,
The entire Trump administration, the whole reason why, I'm telling you right now, Trump is the only reason why people are not being charged right now. Once Trump is out of office, I would like to hope that we will see a lot of these people facing charges for literally breaking the law.
I could agree with you on where I could agree with you on Jerome Powell's inefficiency. Like, as somebody who believes in labor rights first and foremost.
That's also a good point. People are saying that we should get an American singer for the Super Bowl. I'm sorry to break it to you, but Bad Bunny is a Puerto Rican singer. Puerto Ricans are Americans. Puerto Rican is a part of America. Puerto Rico is a part of the USA. It is. I'm sorry. It is. So people from Puerto Rico are considered Americans, but Bad Bunny is American. So
I don't think Jerome Powell prioritizes the American worker when it comes to monetary policy. And I think that for a long time, the Federal Reserve has operated under the mantra of curbing inflation at all costs, even if that means cutting labor rights, even if that means strangleholding the amount of employment that is offered in this country. Unemployment comes secondary to inflation, which sure, inflation does hurt workers, but unemployment kills workers. That is the only way that people have means in order to provide for their families under the current economic structure that we have. And so for me, I'd want someone in there who's more worker first, but I want to do it through the right channels. I don't think that we should give unilateral control to the president to decide monetary policy. Because I think we would agree every president would want short-term boosts in their economy. We have a very short presidency where typically it's 4 to 8 years. In modern history, it seems to be a pendulum of 4 and 4 and 4 and 4. I think every president would want to get short-term gains by immediately cutting interest rates. I don't think that is effective or thoughtful monetary policy for the long term.
Well, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I want this just stated clearly. The Federal Reserve should not directly answer to the President of the United States. It should actually directly answer to Congress and the Department of the Treasury both. That's what should happen. The Constitution lays out the fact that Congress has the power to coin money, but again, that power was stripped away from Congress when this ridiculous institution called the Federal Reserve was brought into existence in 1913. So again, the entire institution of the Fed, in my opinion, needs to be stripped away of its power. It needs to be restructured and immediately brought under the authority of Congress and the Department of the Treasury. That way it can actually answer to Congress and by extension the American people. Monetary policy in this country has been historically destructive ever since the U.S. was removed from the gold standard in 1933.
Here we go.
I don't know why that's funny.
Here we go. I'm ready.
Executive Order 6102 took the United States off the gold standard, and when FDR did this, he then arbitrarily, he made it illegal to own gold privately under the threat of imprisonment for 20 years. 2, once he acquired all the gold in the system, he arbitrarily, as the president, revalued gold to $30 an ounce, up from $20. And since then, the United States' dollar has literally lost over 97% of its value. So you're right, inflation kills workers, unemployment does. I'm going to say the Federal Reserve is deliberately killing the American economy through pre-manufactured debt crises. Shut the Fed down, restructure it, make it answer to the American people.
I don't want it to.
Alright, I don't really care about this. Iran. What is this?
And you've been listening to authorities in Minnesota launching a lawsuit against the Trump administration over immigration enforcement actions in both the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Twin Cities. This comes after sources tell CNN that about 1,000 additional ICE officers are heading into the Twin Cities region. We're also learning that the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago have filed a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security, alleging that the agency has terrorized residents in organized bombardment, in their words.
Minnesota and Illinois are right to sue the Trump administration for unconstitutional ICE raids in the Twin Cities and Chicago that violate the 10th Amendment.
Saw that coming.
Yeah. I mean, I would just love to start this off by characterizing the immigration problem in America. In general, what we tend to see is that immigrants are characterized as violent, as disobedient, as disorderly, and bringing chaos to the country. We can easily debunk that statement by just looking at the fact of the situation that even undocumented immigrants, those that we're trying to persecute in this country, are statistically less likely to commit crimes than the average U.S. citizen. That is a fact.
No, it's not.
It is.
They commit a crime immediately when they cross the border. It is a misdemeanor, which is a crime.
Yeah.
And
So does this so does this mean that does it logically hold? Because then you would have to say that asylum seekers are breaking the law. You would have to say that asylum seekers are breaking the law, which would be really disingenuous to say. Because in order to become an asylum seeker, you really have to cross over into America and say that, you know, you're for real life, and then they take it from there. So are we saying that asylum seekers are criminals? Is that what we're saying here?
It's a civil violation.
What is a crime?
Yeah, so a crime specifically is not only when you're breaking certain legal code, but typically
a crime is when you break legal code.
No, it's a certain characterization. So like, is littering a crime?
This is crazy that we're...
Is littering a crime?
Yes,
No, it's not.
yes it is.
It's a civil violation.
It's okay.
It's
so
running a stop
So this
sign
is
a
the
crime.
problem: is you guys change definition of things to fit
It's
your
not.
narrative. No.
Am I a criminal if I litter?
Look up crime right now. Look up the definition.
I
of crime.
would.
You have your phone.
We're not going to bring out our phones here. I have a
We
question
can.
for you.
We can.
If I litter, am I a criminal?
You have committed littering,
Am I
a
a
crime.
criminal if I litter?
You
at
can
a
be
very low
charged-
at a very low level based on city law, technically.
So we're
speaking.
all criminals?
No, we're
Yeah,
not.
in a way.
we all
I
break
don't
the law.
litter. Do you
I mean,
litter?
We've all
I don't
broken the
litter.
law before, dude. Let's
mean,
pretend like you've never broken the law.
Okay, so they're crimes and I'm a criminal. Fine, whatever.
But see
Okay,
how redundant that is?
and
No,
see how
it's boring,
differently
because you just said that
you're
everybody is a
treated
criminal.
on the
You got-
basis of what
I
crime...
didn't. No.
Okay, let's
I said I didn't litter. You go, oh come on, you litter.
No,
and then
no,
at that
no, no,
point
no.
I go, okay, well,
I didn't
if
say.
you want,
Hold on.
I don't-
didn't litter. Let's
let's
bring it
define.
down.
They're battling
Let's bring it down a
small.
little bit.
Let's define crime.
Like,
So I'm not saying
should.
all littered, but I'm saying you've broken the law. That doesn't make you a criminal.
It
There-
does.
No,
It- look up the definition of
Criminal is a specific legal
I'm gonna look
definition.
it
Somebody have the somebody pull the definition.
Criminal is a specific legal definition.
So
if I'm
if
a
you-
criminal if I have committed a certain severity of a particular legal code that I've broken. So like if I murdered somebody, I would be classified as a murderer. If I have essayed somebody, I'd be classified as an essay.
What is crime?
There's
Tell me what a
severity of
crime
it.
is. Tell me what a crime is. So we can start talking about what this consists of. Tell me what a crime is.
A crime is an act of an act or omission that violates a public law, is
Thank you.
considered harmful to society, and is punishable by the government with penalties like fines.
But
or
are there
civil
severities of
imprisonment.
crime? Would you say that?
That's not what I'm debating.
But I'm
Yeah, thank you so much for the word. Welcome, welcome.
No, I said
I
they
didn't say
are.
I would actually love to repeat, because the thing is,
It's not a civil violation. It's a
no,
crime.
I was cut off. Look at me. I was cut off when you bombarded, the conversation. So I want to actually make it clear. Proportionality is a part of this statistic, right? This is a statistic that I'm not pulling out of my ass. This is something that the government actually has to track, right? So again, when we look at the proportionality, let's say that we all litter at some point every single year, and other small petty things, right? Misdemeanors, etc. Undocumented immigrants are less likely to commit crimes in general compared to us. So even if every single one of them
That is statistically true. Undocumented immigrants are less likely to commit violent crimes, even petty crimes like littering. They're less likely to commit those crimes more than people who are born here.
Is it a misdemeanor to,
I think it's
cross the
violent.
border?
They violate a crime as soon as they come across the border.
Well.
Period. There's nothing else I need to.
Right.
So what I will say, everyone can look this up. If you don't have documentation in a country, like you overstay your visa, which is over 70% of why undocumented people are here, they're not going through caravans, they're not doing yada yada. They come here on vacation and they stay over what they say that they do. It's an overstay of visa. That is a civil violation. If they are removed from the premises and they recross without documentation, that is a misdemeanor. That is the legal code. You can look this up. Everybody can.
Yeah,
Misdemeanor would be a crime, yes.
Still a crime.
But so let's get back to the prompt.
That's the point of this prompt.
The point of this prompt, what I wanted to do was characterize the immigration problem. Why is illegal immigration bad to both of you? I would love to know.
Because you're committing a crime, you're entering a country which you're not allowed to. You didn't come to the
Start. I'm a Astro be nice.
ports of entry. That's why.
Okay, so because it's illegal, that's why it's bad. So like.
Yes, quite
legality,
literally.
Morality. Okay, perfect. So like what we know, right, is that like there are levels to severity of crimes, correct? For example, it is illegal for me to shoplift like a lollipop from Target, correct?
Yeah,
Does that mean that I should be like taken from like by the arms, strangled, etc.? What we're seeing is like there's a crime that is literally at a level legally and that is being disproportionately enforced against. That's the whole problem. People should not be taken from their homes so forcibly for a misdemeanor. That doesn't make any sense.
There are crimes, there are punishments for crimes, correct?
Yeah.
And the punishment for a crime of crossing the border illegally or overstaying your visa is that you are taken back to your home. What a nice gesture.
Yeah.
Give them a ride back home.
Yeah.
It becomes forceful when you begin to resist. And that's the problem we're having in all these places.
So I want to go back to what Austin said, and these people are not leaving their places because they're like, you know what, screw all of the roots I have, screw the culture and the community that I've built here, screw oftentimes the home that I've built with members of my local community. I just want to go to the United States because that would be so sick. A lot of times people are being pushed here because of the destabilization of their countries. And we can talk about the chaos that is in a lot of other developing nations. That's important. And we need to figure out ways that we can stabilize it. I don't know if the U.S. is the best way to do that, but I would agree that it should be good to have more stabilization across the world. That does not negate the fact that these people are coming here out of necessity in most times. And I'm not saying that there are never an undocumented immigrant who commits crimes. I don't think anybody on the left would ever say that. And that's because, like, in every group that you see, every demographic, there will be violent offenders. And I don't think there's any leftists that's saying like, oh, you get one free murder, you get to stay here, even if you're a murderer.
Do you think the U.S. should harbor all refugees? Is that?
I think
that's not even possible.
If I may, very briefly, the only reason I disagree is because if they sue them based on the 10th Amendment, they won't win. The 10th Amendment gives the federal government power to enforce immigration policy.
Is that because you're saying the supremacy clause?
Yes, but I was going somewhere completely different.
Okay. Well,
the net of it is that by definition, because of the 10th Amendment, right now the raids operating under the premise of securing illegal immigrants is not illegal based on the way the law is currently defined. Where I would actually have to side with Mason and Zena here is that you have to look at the nature of the crime being committed. Based on the strictest available definition, that the U.S. law, not anything else, crossing the border illegally is defined under U.S. law as a crime. That is true. However, because the nature of most of these people are coming from already oppressive regimes, what should happen is that two things should happen. One, Trump is already offering, was it $2,200 that he's giving people to self-deport? There was some amount of money he was offering people to self-deport. What should happen is this, very simply. Anyone that is here illegally and that's all they've done, and they've been here for 10, 20 years, they're undocumented. If you want to be proper, send them back to their country with paperwork to get their citizenship process started. I think it's unfair. I have friends that have legally immigrated to this country. It's ridiculously expensive to come over here the long way. It's ridiculously expensive. You shouldn't skip those people, but we also should have some degree of understanding as to what the hell it is you're doing wanting to come over here on a boat or come over here from overseas and come over here with nothing. You have to have grace for that. You can't, again, if America was so damn bad, everybody wouldn't be clamoring to come over here. Nobody would be clamoring.
What we're seeing is a lot of these migrants that are in these inner cities are not living in proper, even standard living. I don't think that people are coming here and all of a sudden their lives are completely better. I think a lot of them come under a false promise because of the the push of American exceptionalism that we've done for our foreign policy for so long, where people come with the idea of, I'm going to come to America, have a 2-bedroom house, my family will be all okay. And that's just not the reality.
No, the reality.
That really isn't the reality.
The reality I'm talking about is where these people come over that come from India, come from Uganda, come from places that are inherently oppressive, and work their ass off to generate familial wealth and then generational wealth. Like we all know, I'm sure all of us at the table know some Indian brother or sister or Arabic brother or sister that owns a gas station, and they got there because they busted their ass coming over here with nothing, and they made a living for themselves. I can respect that.
Yeah,
I can respect that because you're coming over. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna shut up. You're coming over here. It's one thing if you're coming over here siphoning off of the system and not giving anything back, but these people are still paying taxes.
If we were, I think if we were to genuinely deport all people undocumented here, that would have a great effect on our economy. And
it will have a great effect on our economy, and it is having a great effect on our economy because, you know, they're doing the jobs that people here don't want to do. They're in the fields, picking berries. They're, you know, in our hotels, making sure that the beds are made and the sheets are clean and all of the above. You know, they're literally doing jobs no one else wants to do. I'm just being for real. I'm just being honest. No one wants to be out in the field picking berries, and no one wants to be in a hotel cleaning sheets. No one wants to do that.